favorite roofing company.
Watch WRDW News at 5:30 weekdays for What the Tech. Sponsored by Augusta Preparatory Day School, leading the CSRA in STEM education. The Columbia County Fair is now open.
Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12 live at 5.
Well, if you get into a crash and the other car involved drives off, what do you do? Just ahead, we'll show you how hit-and-run cases are handled.
But first, looks like most everybody will be turning on their heat tonight, if you haven't already, as we face another evening of below average temperatures, as if it is not hard enough to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
Now we have to crawl out from underneath the warm covers.
I was so warm this morning. I did not want to get up.
Same.
Riley, how cold is it going to get tonight for us?
Well, I don't think we'll break a record like we did this morning, but we are going to get close to temperatures just as cold Friday morning. Most likely upper 20s again, especially away from that city environment. But early this morning at Bushfield, we got down to 27. That did beat the old record of 28. That was set back in 1954. So impressive cold out there to start off the day. It's been a beautiful day overall. We've seen a lot of sunshine, temperatures staying in the 50s for most spots this afternoon. As we head into the weekend, you can see our temperatures do gradually tick up a little bit. So still a cold start this weekend, Saturday morning, but our afternoon highs will actually get back into the 70s Saturday and Sunday. Looking at our Savannah River Cam here from the Thurman Dam, a beautiful afternoon to be outside. We have temperatures right now in Augusta in most of the area that are currently sitting in the upper 50s. Winds have turned out the east-northeast, staying fairly light, definitely not as breezy as what we've seen over the past couple of days. Here's our current temps across town: 56 in Aiken, 55 in Saluda, and 59 down there in Millen. We have opening night of the Columbia County Fair. If you're heading out there, definitely grab the sweatshirt and the jacket. Going to be chilly as we head later into this evening. Much more on these temperatures and the full forecast in just a bit, but let's get a quick update on your First Alert traffic.
And now, First Alert traffic.
All right, live look outside of our studios. You can see plenty of blue sky overhead. A very nice day out there for us. Not much traffic issues here eastbound or westbound on I-20, and Riverwatch Parkway doesn't look too bad at the moment either. Going out to exit 190 here in Grovetown, we got traffic moving okay on Lewiston Road and just off the exit, and just a lot of clear skies out there. I have an update on some warmer temps this weekend, just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Riley. Well, you or someone you know may have been in a car crash where one of the parties drives away before authorities arrive.
It happens quite often. So far this year in Richmond County, there were roughly 1,300 hit and runs. Now, this is according to the Sheriff's Office. Our Sydney Hood joins us now live on Riverwatch Parkway. And Sydney, how do deputies even begin to sort through so many cases? And what does that mean for the victims?
There's actually a file at the Sheriff's Office with all of the cases from this year, and these are cases that range from someone leaving the scene because they have a suspended license or a parking lot tap or a bumper-to-bumper type hit you get from sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic. Now, the Sheriff's Office says out of the 9,000 crashes they've responded to this year, so far about 15% of those are reported as hit and runs. The Sheriff's Office says they average about 4 of these a day, and every single detail counts to help and solve these cases, which can be a challenge because everything happens so fast, and the person that got hit isn't necessarily thinking about the other person leaving the scene.
We thought maybe he or she would pull into the Pizza Hut, but they continued to drive off. Being in the far right lane, going down Highland Avenue, nobody really thought to just get the tag number because nobody thought he was going to drive off.
And the Sheriff's Office says they actually see a lot of that in these cases, people not getting the tag number because, again, they don't think the car is going to drive off, which is, again, why they say every single detail counts to help them, even if it's just the color or the make of the car. Coming up all new tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, what you can do to help yourself if you ever find yourself in a hit-and-run situation.
And unfortunately, a lot of people do, so this is news we can all use. Thanks, Sydney. In South Carolina, one family fighting for justice tonight, claiming the state's DUI laws allow for repeat offenses. South Carolina's DUI law is lengthy, and it can make cases difficult to win if first responders mess up a step, like properly recording field sobriety test. A mother and daughter out of Horry County say a drunk driver crashed into them last year, and they later learned that driver had already been arrested just months before for a DUI.
Has hijacked our life for the last year. You know, doctor's visits, attorney visits.
That family's case still making its way through the court system, but they're calling for clarifications tonight to South Carolina's DUI laws.
A new civil lawsuit was filed today in the death of 17-year-old Brittany Drexel. Now, Brittany was from New York and visiting Myrtle Beach back in April of 2009. Drexel vanished days after she arrived in Myrtle Beach, and her body was not found until last May. That's when Raymond Moody admitted to raping and killing Brittany and led authorities to her body. In a news conference today, attorneys for Drexel's family accuse a hotel the teen stayed at of contributing to her death. The lawsuit accuses the motel had no policy against a minor renting a room alone and no policy for alerting law enforcement to an unaccompanied minor.
These kids, you know, teenagers, come on, they run away, they go on vacations without their parents knowing, and there's just a lot of predators and people that, you know, like to make money off of people, especially with human trafficking. And you know, it's huge, and it's not only here, it's everywhere.
The case requests a jury trial and asks for both punitive and actual damages from the motel Brittany stayed at, as well as Moody. Now, Moody is currently serving life in prison after pleading guilty in October.
A former police chief pleading guilty to a sextortion scheme that affected multiple victims. 66-year-old William Parker is the former chief of police of Pine Ridge in South Carolina. Officials say Parker admitted to sending threatening messages to victims, demanding that they produce pornography. Victims then reached out to Parker, not knowing he was the one who sent the messages, asking for help, given his background as the former chief of police. Now, Parker admitted to telling the victims to send the pornography and engaging or attempting to engage in sexual acts with the victims. Parker is facing up to 20 years in federal prison. His sentencing is scheduled for January.
Well, there's a new proposal to relieve overcrowding in Fulton County's jail. This year alone, 10 inmates have died inside that jail, and the county is facing severe understaffing of jailers there.
Now, after a plan to move inmates to another jail in Mississippi was struck down, the county is now looking to resolve this issue through more ankle monitors. Patrick Quinn shows us how it would work.
More ankle monitors, that's the ask, to help thin the population at the Fulton County Jail.
It's like putting on a Band-Aid, but like we need antibiotics.
The electronic monitoring program, started in 2019 during the pandemic, is a condition of bond, allowing some defendants to leave jail while they await trial if they wear an ankle monitor. According to the county, the average length of time a defendant wears a monitor is 242 days. Criminal defense attorney Rachel Kaufman, who's had clients at the jail enter into this program, called the move pre-trial punishment.
You know, putting ankle monitors on people that are accused of crimes before their case is even litigated or before they're convicted.
The county is now seeking $1.7 million to keep the ankle monitoring program going through the end of the year. But especially now, any ask by the sheriff is not guaranteed to be answered.
I call him the $5 million man because every time he comes before the board, he has 4 votes in his back pocket and he gets what he wants. But I think that may be changing.
This is the first ask since Chairman Rob Pitts and the Fulton County Board of Commissioners rescinded more than $2 million in funding to the Sheriff's Office for wristbands that screen inmates' vital signs.
Sheriff, just a minute. Let's try to get through this.
Debate 2 weeks ago over jail funding. Chairman Pitts said the county is committed to responsibly righting the wrongs at the Fulton County Jail.
Even though we love our sheriff, but we have a responsibility as well, and I think we have to ask him the tough questions that he's going to have to stand before us and answer those questions.
The Department of Justice is currently investigating the Fulton County Jail for accusations of unsafe living conditions and inmate mistreatment.
Georgia says it will appeal a judge's order to redraw some congressional and state legislative districts, but it won't fight in court to pause the order for now. This means a special session later this month to draw new lines will likely go forward. A federal judge ruled last week that some of the state's districts were drawn in a racially discriminatory manner. Governor Brian Kemp called for the special session to begin at the end of November to redraw those districts.
It's that time of year again. Open enrollment is underway. You only have a little while to get your health care coverage set up for 2024. Depending on your household income, you might qualify for lower costs or coverage through Medicaid. You can check out our website or WRDW app for more information. Open enrollment kicked off yesterday. You have until December 15th to apply for coverage that starts January 1st.
Well, the White House is proposing a crackdown on junk fees. Junk fees are hidden or misleading charges that increase the total cost of things like hotels, concerts, and utility bills. If the Federal Trade Commission passes the proposal, the law would require businesses to inform you of those fees up front. But in the meantime, there are ways to avoid those junk fees. This includes requesting clear explanations in writing for any unexpected fees on bills. Questionable and undisclosed fees are easier to dispute when paying with a credit card. You can also comparison shop if you're uncertain whether a fee is necessary. Now, the White House Economic Council estimates that you pay an extra 20% on any bill when junk fees are involved.
A giant lizard found living under one Georgia woman's home.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's a big boy. Georgia DNR says if you see one yourself, you need to report it. We'll tell you why. Coming up, Riley.
And those tegus are not going to like the cold temps tonight. We should be back down below freezing early tomorrow morning. We'll have that full forecast next.
A free ride to a job interview, place of work, and more almost sound too good to be true. But coming up all new tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we're giving you an inside look at how several organizations are offering a free rideshare program, giving solutions to bridge the gap between job and jobless.
Time and temp.
For a free $50 Walmart gift card with estimate. Have your zip code and location ready to qualify. Remember, 30 homeowners will get these savings.
Welcome back. A beautiful afternoon again over Clarks Hill Lake. We cannot find a single cloud in the sky out there today. And with clear skies and calm conditions overnight, we're going to see another cold night ahead. We are expecting those temperatures to quickly fall into the 40s once we get past sunset. Right now we're in the upper 50s, but you can still see our air is very dry. So that's going to allow our temperatures to drop rapidly as the sun goes away later tonight. If you are heading out to the fair, opening night for Columbia County Fair tonight, and those gates are now open, and they're going to stay open until the last person heads out tonight. So definitely grab the jacket if you're stepping out. By 11 o'clock tonight, we should already be hitting the 30s as we head past midnight tonight, and by early tomorrow morning, that's when those temperatures will be back down below freezing. Right now at Bushfield, we're going with a forecast low of 29 degrees. Tomorrow afternoon will be a little bit warmer for us. Definitely bundle up, though, heading out to the bus stop out there early tomorrow morning. We're going to hang on to sunny skies and clear sunshine over the next several days, even through the weekend. Looking good for those high school football games Friday evening. Kickoff temps in the mid-50s as we head into halftime, and especially that second half. Those temperatures will be falling into the 40s, so pretty chilly out there tomorrow evening if you're planning to head out to some of those playoff games. Our weekend forecast here at Augusta, we are expecting warm highs, most likely low 70s Saturday, a little bit warmer Sunday, not by much, but both days staying completely dry, so looking good for those outdoor plans. Now Sunday, remember, that is when we do fall back, so remember to set those clocks back Saturday night before you head to bed. Here's how it's going to change our sunset. So right now, sunset tonight, 6:35. By the time we get to Sunday, 5:30, believe it or not. And that's not even our earliest sunset of the year. Our earliest sunset for the entire year is December 8th, where that sunset is about 5:19 later into the evening. So unfortunately, that's what we got to look forward to moving forward for the rest of the year. Lake forecast not looking too bad. With these cool nights we've had over the last couple of days, that has actually dropped our lake temps into the upper 60s. So that's the first time we've seen the upper 60s in a good while at Clarks Hill. The lake level is also relatively low, so down to 323 now. So that's actually, they just entered a level 2 drought status there for Clarks Hill and that Savannah River Basin. So just stay safe. Remember, some shallow water hazards can be present when that water does drop like that. Afternoon highs, mid-60s Friday, closer to 70 by Saturday. Not much wind out there. Should stay generally but less than 10 miles an hour over the next couple of days, so not too much of a chop at the lake. Here's our 7-day forecast. Heading into next week, that's when the warmer temps do arrive. We should be in the mid-70s Monday, even warmer Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. So if you're a fan of the cold weather, I'd take advantage over the next couple of days, but spring-like and even early fall-like weather does return by next week.
All right, thanks for that, Riley. An invasive species of giant lizard. That just sounds so wrong, doesn't it? Found living under a Georgia woman's porch. It only gets worse as I keep going.
Boy.
The tegu are native to South America, and they came to the U.S. through the pet trade.
Now, according to Georgia DNR, tegus have wild populations in both Georgia and Florida. Joshua Skinner shows us why they're not welcome in the wild.
So you're probably wondering what I'm doing holding this giant lizard. Well, it turns out this guy's a tegu, and one like him was recently found under a house in Athens. This is not what you expect to find in Georgia.
I can imagine that some people would run for the hills.
It's called a tegu.
Tegu.
And this one's name is Harold. He's a friendly but invasive species from South America.
A lot of them are being put up for adoption, and we're finding that a lot of people are releasing them, which is not a good thing.
Tegus are a legal exotic pet. When they're caught, they get brought to Kathy Smith in Rockmart, south of Rome. She operates the Georgia Herpetological Association and Rescue, which is a long way to say she rescues reptiles.
So we take them in, we work with them, and then we find the right home for them.
But outside the home is where they don't belong. They'll eat pretty much anything, including crops and eggs, and could grow up to 4 feet long.
An animal that's not supposed to be out there shouldn't be out there.
If you think you see one or have one near your property, don't mess with it.
The wrong thing to do would be to try to go up to it and catch it.
The lizards aren't normally aggressive unless threatened, so instead of channeling your inner Steve Irwin, snap a photo and send it to the GHAR or the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. Once captured, it'll likely find its way to Smith, who currently has 8 tegus amongst a host of other reptiles, where it can find a new home and you won't have to worry about yours.
They are definitely the puppies of the reptile world.
Not sure I agree with that last statement there.
I mean, if you're a reptile person, maybe.
You look at it, just wiggle around. I don't like that. Not a fan.
I'm a dog person.
Yeah, me too. I know Nick Proto did a story a few years ago on this in our local area, saying how big of an issue it was. So super important to report those if you see them out in the wild too. But no, not the puppies of the reptile world. I'm going to disagree with that one. It's like the bearded dragon situation all over again too.
Well, people love their bearded dragons. You know what? Just because you don't understand.
No, I understand.
No, neither one of us understand it.
You do what you need to do.
Millions of Americans suffer from dementia and Alzheimer's disease, and millions more are caretakers for them. Just ahead, how one national organization is here to help.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
Water damage.
This just in, live at 5. Columbia County deputies want you to keep an eye out for this man. Take a good look. This is 30-year-old Logan Smith. He was last seen walking on I-20 near the Appling-Harlem Highway exit. We're told he was wearing khaki pants and a green long-sleeve shirt. He has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. If you have any information where he could be, if you might have seen him, please call the authorities.
As of 2020, nearly 6 million Americans were living with Alzheimer's disease. Many people living with the disease are cared for at home by family members.
Caregiving, of course, can be rewarding, but it can also be very difficult and extremely overwhelming. Sawyer Bussey shows us how the Alzheimer's Association is here to help.
For many, an Alzheimer's diagnosis can be isolating, can make families feel completely alone.
We're basically told, you have Alzheimer's, kind of good luck.
With one call, all of that can change.
Hello, you reached the Alzheimer's Association helpline. My name is Shelley. How may I help you?
Mark Sinnott was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at the beginning of the year. Mark's wife, Pam, tells me the family felt completely unprepared. One of their daughters gave them the number for the Alzheimer's Association's hotline.
Little did I know, 3 months later, that I would be calling the helpline in the middle of the night. Hallucinations can be a part of Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. It wasn't life-threatening, but I was totally unprepared for it. He was confused. He didn't know where he was.
Thank you for calling the Alzheimer's Association.
The call gave the family a resource that in crisis became a lifeline.
The hotline is completely free and funded by donations.
Those people, by the time they find us, say that they wish they'd known about us sooner and known who to call and what to do sooner, because we find a lot of times they get to us when they're in crisis or something has really happened instead of early on in the disease. The Alzheimer's Association can help families develop an action plan in the early stages of the diagnosis. They can also help create emergency plans and everything in between, not to mention helping families find community, like what so many find in the Walk to End Alzheimer's.
Important to know that there's help there. This is a devastating disease. It is an unpredictable disease. Knowing that the Alzheimer's Association is there made all the difference in the world.
In Roswell, Sawyer Bussey, Atlanta News First.
All right, well, it is Thursday now, so we have our latest winner for Plunkett Heating and Air Sunshade Giveaway. Congratulations to Dennis Phoebus from Evans, Georgia. To get your own sunshade, just go to WRDW.com and click on Contest. We'll have another look at your forecast just after the break.
Attention homeowners, to anybody and everybody.
All right, beautiful look from our Beach Island camera looking over a small pond there in Aiken County, and you can really see our fall colors starting to pop there on the water. So we do have great conditions to get outside and enjoy some of this fall color over the next couple of days. We are going to see some chilly mornings, though, back down into the upper 20s by daybreak Friday, mid-30s Saturday, but we do start to warm up late this weekend into next week as those highs get close to 80 degrees. Stick with us. We're going to have much more Live at 5 just after a short break.